konnichiwa. Welcome to the Japan America Society of Georgia's Have a Coke and Tea with the Society. As we celebrate Asian American Heritage Month, we are highlighting all of our Japanese and Japanese American members, part of the society. And I'm so thrilled to have such a great and wonderful guest today with us. But I am enjoying a nice hot cup of tea today. But please let me welcome Sachio Nakato Takahara.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for inviting us. We appreciate it.
Satsan, thanks so much for joining us. What are you enjoying today?
I'm enjoying coffee.
Nice. Gotta stay up and be perked up, right, in the restaurant business.
For sure.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of work you do.
So my family and I run Nakato Japanese restaurant here in Atlanta, Georgia. We've had the establishment going on since 1972, which was started by my grandmother, and it was passed down to my mom and my father, and then on to our generation between my sister and I.
Wonderful. And I know Nakato Japanese Restaurant is the first Japanese restaurant in Atlanta in Georgia. So how did it all begin?
It started off with my uncle, who was in the textile industry in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he was going back and forth between Japan and the US and sort of settled down here to help run the company here, excuse me, in the States. And my grandmother, she was in Japan and came in for a Southern tour while he was in Charlotte and fell in love with Atlanta and the hospitality that Georgia had to offer. So at that point, she was 61, 62, and she was suffering from asthma. And so she remembered her doctor saying, hey, when you retire, go retire somewhere where there's a lot of greenery. And she picked the greenery part, but not the retirement part, and started the restaurant with my uncle and my mother in 72.
Nice. Well, actually, before coming to Atlanta myself, I was in Charlotte too, and I've enjoyed dining at the restaurant, Nakato restaurant in Charlotte, and now I get to enjoy dining the restaurant here in Atlanta. So it kind of comes full circle for me as well. So, but that's a wonderful history of how Nakato Japanese restaurant came to the U.S. and I know food is certainly one of the best ways to bring people together. So we really appreciate you coming here and continuing the legacy, right? So
I appreciate it. And, Grandma always told my mother and myself that a lot of the Japanese businesses that were based in Georgia were the ones that were supporting us during the earlier years. So there's a great connection between that and, just the people who were coming in from Japan, settling themselves in the US and Georgia, and having a comfortable spot to have Japanese food and to be able to talk in Japanese. And it was long before even the embassy or the Japanese grocery stores. So I think everybody felt comfortable congregating at the restaurant and being supported by each other.
Exactly. No, Japan is the #1 foreign investor in the state of Georgia right now, with over 600 Japanese companies who employ 36,000 people. And none of it would have been possible without, having that ecosystem, that support system, including a Japanese restaurant in town to be able to support the expats and the Japanese executives and employees that work for those companies, right? So thank you for making all that happen.
Well, thank you guys.
But yeah, so tell us maybe a little bit about yourself and your upbringing. I know you have your family has a very unique story too, but tell us about, I guess, how you got connected to the U.S. and then to the restaurant business.
So once my grandmother came in and my mother and uncle settled in the U.S., my father came in as a chef from Japan and fell in love with my mom, and that's the rest of history. But at the same time, I was born and raised here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was fortunate enough to live in a big family setting where grandmother and great aunts were living with us as my parents were busy in the restaurant industry. So a lot of the Japanese culture was given to us, and we would celebrate. I would celebrate Children's Day, Hinamatsuri, also Tanabata. And so a lot of the cultural experiences were from that interaction with my older generation. And also the languages were passed down from grandmother to us. And I find that as a blessing now. I struggled going to Saturday school every week, but now looking back, I'm very thankful to my parents who allowed me to do so.
Yeah, definitely. We have a similar, I guess, upbringing a little bit. I was born in Japan, but and when we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, from Japan, I went to the Saturday school and try to keep up with all the children's holidays, right? So
Right.
all of that definitely is what makes us the people we are today, right?
For sure. And now I'm passing it on to our guests at the restaurant by having origami workshops and, teaching my kids who are 8 and 12 right now, the cultures and ambiances of what the beauty of having two different cultures being immersed in taking all the great parts of it.
Exactly. And then I know what makes you all unique is it's not just about the food, but you have the ambiance. You do share various aspects of Japanese culture. So talk maybe a little bit about what makes Nakato so unique, culinary wise, I guess, in terms of food, and then but also I guess you all do so much more within the community too.
Yes, we pride ourselves in just having an experience versus a restaurant experience, if that makes any sense. It's not just the food and the time that we share here, but it's also about the cultural relations and learning about new cultures. I do a lot of kids activities that would bring the community together. A lot of our guests are 2 to 3 generations as well, because the restaurant's been in business for close to 50 years now. So we have 2 to 3 generations of guests as well. And the parents who used to come into the restaurant as a child now have kids. And so we're able to connect and share stories that way, and invite them to activities that we do, whether it be nagashi somen experience or shiso juice making classes or origami workshops. We try to keep it fun and exciting for the whole family.
Yeah, so everyone tuning in, definitely visit the restaurant kind of to get the full experience and the Japanese culture. We certainly have enjoyed visiting your restaurant over the years. And you also share American culture to the Japanese customers too, right? You've done some Halloween things and some other kind of American exchanges. So it goes both ways every time.
That is true. We just had May 4th Star Wars theme going. I guess that's universal when it gets to a certain degree, but we have fun doing American holidays too, for sure.
Yeah. So when you do run a family business, as you do, I know it's all day 24/7 kind of work experience, but what do you like to do on your off time? And hopefully your family will be celebrating Mother's Day and celebrating you too, right? So
yes, we're excited. Unfortunately, all the major holidays I'm working because we're open 365 days of the year. So anyone in the hospitality industry would understand, the hotels and the restaurants. So when it's time for people to enjoy, they come out and support us. So we're very fortunate with that. On my days off and hobbies, we just got a new puppy. So she's been keeping us busy. And I went to photography school. So that's part of my hobby, and I enjoy looking at art and getting inspired that way as well.
very nice. Well, I know what you do at the restaurant is a work of art as well with kind of the culinary arts, but I'm so glad that you do have such a well-balanced, I guess, lifestyle with family and with a new addition with your puppy and then photography as well. So
It's a constant juggling act. I don't know if it's well balanced, but it's trying to keeping all the balls in the air.
nice. Great. Well, so what do you enjoy most about working in the hospitality industry and some of the challenges you've had over the years?
It is definitely the people, whether it be employees or the guests. That relationship that I get to have with them is my number one blessing as well as inspiration. And then the same goes for the headaches and tribulations, to make sure to balance again the work environment and what the guest needs are, and just making sure all around that I can keep this business going and everybody happy is where the tribulations come from as well. But it's all worth it at the end of the day, so I'm excited to keep on going and leaving a legacy for my kids to look back on and partake.
Nice. Well, I'm so glad that we share very similar cultural values, and it's all about the people, right? The people to people relationship, and no matter what kind of business that you're in or industry, certainly have to have great people around you to be successful. So,
That is so
and you
true.
certainly do that. So we definitely commend you for all of that. But you are, at least my and all of our Japan American Society members, expert in Japanese culinary arts and food. What is your favorite Japanese food? And tell us a little bit about it. I know maybe it's seasonal a little bit, but what do you recommend for people to enjoy at your restaurant?
Definitely the sushi. We take pride in having shipments of fresh fish coming in from Japan seasonally and weekly. So that brings out more variety, and it's inspiring for me too, because there's some fish that come into the restaurant that I've never tasted before, and so to learn and to keep on being a platform where people can enjoy the Japanese seasonality and culinary aspect, Sushi Bar is the place. So I recommend everybody having their sushi fix at Nakato. And then also, I would have to say the hibachi is a great experience too for bringing family and groups together, because we have such a array of dining experience in one roof. So anything related to Japanese cuisine, being able to showcase sushi as well as an experience in the restaurant is one of my, I think, the restaurant's strength. And we love having guests here to enjoy any aspect of the restaurant.
Very nice. You talked a little bit about this already, about you're continuing on your family's legacy and you want to do the same for your children too. But tell us a little bit about the restaurant's goals and future aspirations, maybe on the short term and long term, and then personally too for yourself.
Right. The short term is just getting out of this COVID funk, whether it be staffing for our restaurant. It's very critical and crucial for us to be able to open up fully, to be staffed, and being able to move forward and be a stronger entity in supporting my staff as well as the guests who are wanting to come in. Right now, I can't open full capacity because the lack of labor force behind what's going on in the US and a lot of the hospitality industry. So just finding that balance and getting more qualified people in here to help us take us to the next level of post-COVID, I guess. In the big picture, I do want my kids to be in a place where they take on the company and legacy, whether it be running the restaurant or managing the business. I want them to be a part of that because they're going to end up with it anyways moving forward. So I just want them to have the option of figuring out their strengths and where they want to be in the company as we move forward and on. I think my parents' generation and grandmother's generation did an amazing job of picking the location and figuring out what would work in the Atlanta market per se. So I just want to make sure that legacy continues to continue on the relationship between Georgia and Japan and being able to bring people together.
Wonderful. We'll be there every step of the way to support you all. So
I appreciate that.
Wonderful. So everyone tuning in, can you tell us how to, I guess, get more information about Nakato Japanese Restaurant, your website, phone number, any way we can get in touch?
Yes, our website is www.nakatorestaurant.com, and you can file for employment there too. Please come by. And then our Facebook and Instagram handle is Nakato Restaurant, at Nakato Restaurant. So we look forward to seeing you.
So everyone tuning in, definitely visit the restaurant to taste the best of Japan has to offer, but also maybe find out some ways to join the Nakato family and some employment opportunities too. So a lot happening at the restaurant. So visit the website and look forward to seeing you in person hopefully soon, Sachi-san.
Yes, thank you. Take care of your son.
Great, thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.